Yeah, Vijay Sundaramji is not there. So let him come next class. I think he said he's still in Shivratri Puja. So we'll cover it next class. So this question from Rameshji was projections. So we talk about projection, right? And so what about this schizophrenia and other those kinds of mental disorders where they are projecting things that don't really exist, okay, that are not true essentially. And so, see, before we go to schizophrenia, let's talk about people who are not schizophrenic, okay, which is, all average people, all of us, and projecting something that does not exist, okay, or that only partially exists, partially true. In objects, we do that. We project. We constantly project. Okay. When you don't know something clearly, then immediately I will project. Okay. So, for example, you see a person and then you thought the person was somebody else, a good friend of yours. Oh, you're here. When did you come? Well, you turn around and then no, it's not that person. Oh, I'm sorry. I mistook you to be somebody else. Projection, correct? That was a clear projection. Now, even among interactions between family members and friends, there's a lot of projection. We see things in another person which don't exist, really speaking. You don't support me, you don't like me, you don't love me enough. Okay, all these problems, many of these problems, if you analyze, they are not 100% true. They're not it's all my own projection. So I saw her talking to somebody else, some male person, and she's been talking for more than once, twice, thrice. Now, therefore, I'm jealous, okay, and therefore I project. Pure projection. Nothing. All she's doing is trying to get some things done for home. That's all she's doing, and and then how can you do that? Projection, pure projection, and projection, constant projection. This projection we do. Why I'm saying all this is our own life we are talking. We don't have to be schizophrenic to ruin our family, correct? We are very good at that. And so we are trying to find out how to become normal people. Means people without projecting so much. Allow people to be what they are. If there is a problem, yeah, see the problem, say the problem, express it, and whatever, resolve it. But that's not the way it's working all the time. So there itself there is projection, Rameshji. In our family itself, among people's relationships, friends also, friends, and then something happens. Now you're not calling me anymore, and you are now going with another friend, and then I can become jealous. What happened? Why are you both going together? I don't know. This is complicated. So so much projection is there. Whether it is true or not, we don't. And that person will get upset if you say this. So the fact that he gets upset shows that maybe there is something wrong in what I did. And I will not let go. And then the relationship gets degraded. Therefore, Rameshji, this projection is constant in human relationships. Okay. Now all we have to do is stretch it a little bit and make it a disease. Okay, projection is a disease. But then amongst us, we all say, oh, we're all sane people. And we don't, we project and all that. But in most interactions, we are all okay. But then the schizophrenic person makes a dramatic shift. 1 second, the person is like this. Next second, just different. Like the chameleon changes the color. The chameleon. And like that they change. Because I have personal experience with the schizophrenic. That's why I'm saying this. And that's when I understood what schizophrenia is. And so it's very shocking. And it's like day and night. Okay. And that's why it becomes called a disease and it requires attention. But It's also a projection, Ramesh. I mean, Vedanta does not analyze schizophrenia, and we know that it's a projection, and it's a projection of to such an extent that it just ruins one's lives and people related to that person. And I mean, that's all I wanted to share with you on this topic. That it is a projection, so that much commonality we can see. Perhaps some insight into Vedanta can help psychologists and medical practitioners address schizophrenia at a psychological level, not just medicine. Medicine is okay, that's important also, and that's one aspect. But is there a psychological aspect to that? Is there a spiritual aspect to that? Do people practice that? That would be interesting for me to know.
Thank you, Jaykumar. It's a very nice analysis.
Yeah. Yeah, Haraprasad, go ahead.
Yes, Mahoday. Now, couple of questions. So the causeless cause is Brahman. He is Sat. He existed. Brahman existed before the creation. Now, that much I think I understand fairly well. Coming to Maya, which is a different aspect of Brahman himself, or Brahman, he uses that aspect which is apara to create, using his para, creates the world. Am I correct so far?
Yeah, you are correct so far.
Okay. Now, tell me what is the Sanskritam meaning of nimitta and upadana?
Okay.
How does those words have come?
So, yeah, I have not looked into the etymology of these words, okay? So, nimitta is generally used. So, nimittam also means nimittam is a cause actually, okay? So, yesterday when we did Sankalpa, we said Shivaratri nimittam, right? So, because it is Shivaratri, we are doing this puja. Otherwise, we would not have done this puja. That's the meaning, right? So, nimittam. So, that's a cause. So, here more an intelligent cause. In this context of discussion, intelligent cause. Upadanam. Upa ada. So, upa purvaka, a purvaka da. So, I need to look into the actual etymology there. And typically it's used, there is a nice definition given by Swayam Prakashayati in his commentary of Dakshinamurti Stotra. Beautiful definition he gives. And there he says, Samana, I'm trying to recall, all the words I'm not getting. Samana Sattakaha. Vivarta Samana Sattakaha. So look at this. In two kinds of Upadana Karana, right? Parinami Upadana Karanam and
Vivarta.
Vivarta Upadana Karanam. So in Parinami Upadana Karanam, when A becomes B irreversibly, and A cannot be retrieved anymore from B. So in that, both A and B are of the same order of reality. Same order of reality. Order of reality means what? Pratibhasikam va, vyavaharikam va, paramarthikam va. Correct? These are three orders of reality. One is a projection that doesn't exist, pratibhasikam. Vyavaharikam is laukika, transactional world, and then paramarthikam is the satyam. Okay. So he says, so when milk becomes yogurt, both milk and yogurt must be of the same order of reality. Okay. This is called, he says, parinami upadana karanam. An upadana karanam that changes to become something else. Vivarta upadana karanam, he says, vishama sattaka vivarta upadana karanam, he says. He says, for a cause to be a vivartam, it has to be a different order of reality than the effect. For the cause to be a vivarta upadana karanam, the reality of the cause must be different from the reality of the effect product. Different. Means what? Dream. Think about the dream example. Dream is there, dream world is there. And I am the upadana karanam of this dream world. I am the nimitta karanam, no doubt, but upadana karanam. And vivarta upadana karanam va parinami va, if you say, well, I did not change while I created the dream world. And therefore I am not parinami. And I am vivartam. Vivarta upadana karanam, because I pervade the dream world. And then the dream world dissolves into me. And I remain unchanged. Right? I remain unchanged. Now, he says that is possible only when the reality of I and the reality of the effect, the product and the cause and the product must be different. And you know what? In this case, it is different. Dream is a different order of reality than the self paramarthikam. Correct? Dream is a different order of reality. It's a pratibhasikam. Whereas I am either paramarthikam or laukikam, whichever you can use. Vyavaharikam. So, upadana karanam, that is the only definition I've seen. And we need to look into the etymology a little more to see why that word actually got used in this. I'll make a note of it and I'll try to find out and get back to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dhanyavadaha. Thank you.
Anything else? So how many of you celebrated Shiva?
From creation aspects, actually, you have told about para-prakriti, apara-prakriti, etc. But in a simple terms, how do we define God?
So, when we ask the question, how do we define God? Okay, in simple terms. That means, what is our expectation? What is our expectation? Our expectation is this. I think this is the expectation. I know what a phone is. I know what a book is. I know what a house is. I know what a car is. I know all vegetables. I know all fruits. I know health, a little bit about health. I know so much about so many things. Can you define God in a way that I know so many things? This is the expectation, right? Can you define God as an object for me? The minute you say definition, you want to categorize God into one way in which I can visualize God. It's not wrong, not wrong. But I'm saying that is expectation, is it not?
Now, if we have to actually explain God to children, somebody is asking, and it is very difficult for us to actually get into all these because we have learned, okay, we will be able to give a detailed explanation, but unfortunately they may not understand that because they did not learn all these.
Yeah, so we don't talk about upadana karanam and all that to children. Young children, no, this is not a lecture for young children. So therefore, don't think tomorrow in your children's class at Art of Living, you are going to talk about it. And, so there we will have to get into serious problems if we talk like this. And so children or even adults also. Adults have to be prepped before you talk like this, correct? You all have a lot of preparation.
Hmm.
That is why now finally I'm introducing Vivarthopadana Karanam and Parinami, correct? So many, a couple of years they've not talked about it.
Really don't.
So preparation is needed before we bring in all these topics. And so to children, you tell them stories. There's so many stories we have. Ramayana, Mahabharata, inspiring. Dharma. Focus on dharma for children. Dharma,
Okay.
children can appreciate dharma very well. Even a young child, even a 3-year-old baby will appreciate dharma very well. Because that thing about right, wrong, it becomes very obvious. How will it be if she took away your balloon? If you say, that's enough, right? Then, oh, okay, I should not take her. That language they can understand. And then, of course, all these beautiful stories around Purana stories are all there. And then leave it at that. There is no need to go beyond that.
Okay.
We're not trying to, this is like a flower blossom in Greece. And that flower cannot blossom one day sooner. And it will not blossom one day later also. It will blossom whenever it has to blossom in its own time. And so now I'm reminded of what Paravadyananda said. And I told you this before, I think, in a few classes ago. The people who talk about Puranas, the Kathakaras and others, Panyasakaras, right? When they tell all these beautiful stories and everybody's listening and shedding tears, the Sringeri Acharya wrote a letter to every ashram and said, when you tell stories, you should also bring in Vedanta. You bring in Vedanta, because otherwise people will go away with the idea that Bhagavan is separate from you. Hey, this is not our culture. Bhagavan being separate from you is not our culture at all. And everybody is listening to all these stories and crying and again, important. Bhakti is so important. We all grew out of that. And you have to slowly argue with God now. When are you going to argue with God? When are you going to look at him and say, how are you? I've understood you. I've understood everything. We have to say that or not?
Yeah.
What a magician you are, my dear friend. What a magic you did. Like that, we should have a conversation. I think so. I would like to have a conversation. And so that's the beauty of this. Simply, we can't leave it ending like this. Therefore, it's a growth process. And so prepare the children. And then as they grow up, in their high school, when they're in high school, you can introduce this concept. Hey, it's all going to come. Bhagavad Gita is like this. Krishna is going to talk about Tat, Tvam and Asi. It's an equation, grand equation, Mahavakyam, equation between you and God. And to put that seed there.
Oh.
Put the seed there. That seed, high school seed is there. Then college, continue to elaborate a little on the seed. And then they will go away. Then one day they'll come. And then it will be clear to them. Because the seed is already there and it is germinated.
Anyway.
That is my approach, Girish.
Thank you. No. It is very true. Thank you very much.
Yeah, keep your notes to yourself and then don't go outside and start talking about Vivartha Upadana Karanam, Parinami Upadana Karanam. But if you have a group study among your own friends, there you should bring it up at the right time. And anything else? Okay, Lakshmi Nagesh, can we say dissolution? Is rejuvenation a better translation for pralaya? Okay. So, from manifest to unmanifest, this is the way to understand pralaya. Okay. What you call it your own way. Whichever your preferred word you can use. Rejuvenation, dissolution. Rejuvenation means what? Suppose I say I feel rejuvenated. Means pralaya? Hey, rejuvenation is not pralaya. I don't think so. We have to be careful. I think what Maheshji means is that, okay, that pralaya is needed. The forest has to burn in order for a new forest and fresh forest to come. That maybe in that sense he means rejuvenation. But be careful what word you use. And so people may think something else. And dissolution is okay, I suppose. Dissolution is fine. Dissolution is the process of dissolving. Yeah, I guess, dissolving. So suppose you dissolve salt in water or sugar in water. So that the manifest sugar, white crystal, suddenly disappears. And then you heat the water or something, then again it appears. Becomes manifest. Unmanifest, manifest. That is what manifestation, unmanifestation. So yeah, use any word that as long as you're able to explain it to yourself and to others as manifestation or manifestation. Like dream. Dream world is manifest, then unmanifest. Manifest, unmanifest. So pralaya. Dissolution, dissolution, any word, that's all okay. Good questions. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalashahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trilokyanathaya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalashahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trilokyanathaya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalashahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trilokyanathaya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha.